Now let us look to the cost optimization of Amazon EC2. Now in EC2, we have multiple pricing model. We have the on-demand instance where you pay by the hour or the second if you are using a Linux operating system, which are not suitable for long-term commitment or a steady workload. They are more suitable if you have, for example, a dev and test environment where you want to create a machine to do a little bit of experiment. We have also the reserved instance, and those are very good if you want to have a long-term commitment for 1 year or 3 year, specifically if you have a steady workload. That is steady workload, like a customer, he come to you and he is in business for 10 years and he want to move to the cloud. In this case, a reserved instance will be very suitable because he can get up to 75% discount of the on-demand price. But if it is a startup company and that they want to trial the product and they will see whether the product is going to be successful or not, in this case, the spot instance or the on-demand instance are more suitable. Spot instances are more useful if you are looking to have an emerging compute need for a few hours or a few days, and you don't need those images to be or those EC2 instances to be for long term. Those spot instances can be interrupted, and your price for those spot instances could be outbid by another customer of AWS. For dedicated host, you are going to get a physical server with EC2 instance capacity fully dedicated to your use. Now, normally we use dedicated host to meet a compliant and regulation requirements, specifically if we have a sensitive data like we are dealing with data science information. You could also create dedicated instances, and those are going to run in your own VPC in a dedicated hardware, not a shared hardware. You could also make a reserved scheduled instance where you can purchase the capacity for 1 year, but you want those instances to be available in a specific days. Like you want the instances from 9 a.m. into 5 p.m. every Monday of that week. So every week you have the machine available to you and you don't need it in the rest days of the week. Now we have to understand that an on-demand instance is more suited for low cost and flexibility. Spot instances are very good when you have a large scale dynamic workload. Reserved instance, you normally need them if you can predict and you have a defined capacity need that you want to meet. And the dedicated host, you can basically use it to save money in licensing, or you want to meet a compliance and regulatory requirements. Keep in mind the use cases for on-demand. They are a short-term, spiky, or unpredictable workload. Spot instances are more suited for application with the flexibility where you want to start and stop at any time. The reserved instance when you have a steady state or predictable usage. The dedicated instance when you want to have and to bring your own license. For example, you have already purchased a SQL Server license and you want to have a dedicated instance so you can install your own license. And this is the only choice where you will be able to access the cores of the EC2 instances and the socket, and also you can have per VM software licenses if needed, and you can also address a specific corporate compliance and regulatory requirements. In AWS, there is 4 pillars of cost optimization. Having the right size where you choose the right balance between the instance type and the application need, and you have the ability to increase and decrease the elasticity, as we will see later on in the last module when we use auto-scaling. You want also to recognize the available price option and analyze your cost and usage pattern in order to have the right mix of a pricing option. I always prefer to have a 20% of my capacity met by an on-demand instance and 80% of my capacity needs met by a reserved instance. You could also look to optimize the storage choice, and this is very important to reduce the unused storage or the overhead as possible as needed. You can choose a less expensive storage option. You can have a storage option that met your requirement and the best storage performance.